Yeah, I'm excited to be working right now is the biggest thing. And I think with our team, we talk about that. Practice is something that we get to do this week because we earned that. So we took a little bit of a breath yesterday, and a lot of it was scouting. But we're ready to go and get into this week and prepare for the Sweet 16. And I was asked during the press conference what it feels like to have it be the first time in the history of this program that it's been into 2 Sweet 16s in a row, and I didn't realize that. But one of the reasons why I came here was to sustain success over time. So that's a huge deal to me. So overall, we're excited.
We'll start on the left side with Rob.
Howdy, Coach.
Howdy.
So you lose a first set to TCU, jump out to a nice lead in the second set, and then it dwindles away, and then you guys were able to get it out. And to talk about what changes, what possibly happened during the huddle during the second set that changed things.
Yeah. The same thing actually happened in the third, where we jumped out to a lead too. And I remember thinking, man, deja vu. And then flipped the script in the fourth. But I think it was a reminder of the adjustments that we had to make. So we made a few of them in the first set that I thought ended up kind of paying off down the stretch, and we got it kind of close. So it was a reminder of those, and then it was a reminder of what I've been talking about this entire time is the longer we go through this tournament, the more time we're going to have to spend under tension in uncomfortable situations. And losing the first set is just that, but that we have to go back to being comfortable in that and put pressure on this team, and at some point they'll break. And for us, that happened very early on. We got a lead, they came back, and then they broke again a little bit later on. But that's what this tournament's about. It's about what team can stay the most comfortable in those moments under tension, and who can stay true to who it is that they are, both as a volleyball team and our ability to play the game and our ability to compete.
We'll go front row on the right to Travis.
Jamie, how important is Maddie been to this whole operation, especially with how fast y'all are like to go on
Huge.
offense?
And it's the one position on the court that is guaranteed to touch the ball on every possession. And passing is important. There's 3 people out there normally. They get to go do that skill. But if somebody's really good, they can keep it away from them. And if somebody's really bad, they're usually going to find them. And for us, I think we're lucky and blessed that we got 7 good passers. I'm probably more than that, 10 good passers. I can't think who's in that group, how many. But we were really deep in terms of our ability to pass the ball. But you can't avoid a setter setting the ball. So that's huge. And to run the offense that we want to run, you have to have somebody good in that position that can run with tempo, that can be smart, that can understand this is the holes in the block and how I'm going to go attack it. And she's been elite at that all season long. And I've said it the entire year. She's an All-American, and she should be.
When she was in the transfer portal, what kind of attracted you to her, and what was that? What do you remember about that recruitment?
Yeah, I coached her as a piece of it. There was a history there. So when I was working for League One volleyball, I was also doing some work with Houston Skylines, and I was in charge of the setter. She wasn't on my team, but I remember at the time she could locate, and she could put the ball where she wants to, from on the net, from off the net. And I think the thing that, I don't know, when you really dive deep down and watch her a lot, is just she's a really good volleyball player. And she makes some plays, and at one point she got set in there and just, I don't know, maybe it was a camel match actually, maybe it was both, and she just took a nice little half swing off the outside hand and tooled it, and that's not something normal that setters do. And if there's a tight ball, she waits the perfect amount of time where the block's right there and it dribbles down in between them, and it seems like it's just luck, but it's not. She's got this innate ability on timing and those little plays to make I don't know, big plays. So she's really good, and it's not just the ability to run the offense. She's really good at the whole game.
And you talked after the match about knowing where the locker room, knowing the whole atmosphere in Nebraska. Is it particularly pertinent to her position because of how much she touches the ball, how much she needs to distribute, and know her surroundings?
Yeah, no. Yeah, man, I love this. I love that I get to come in and educate. I get great questions that are really, I don't know, you're interested. The space itself in our sport, it matters more probably for the passers and the servers, just that peripheral depth change of here's a small gym where the wall is right behind the court, and here's this big gym where it's 35 feet behind the court. So when you get in there, you got to get familiar to that. And that's not necessarily what I was referring to in terms of we were familiar to that space, but just when we get in there, it's a little bit more about that, and it's a little bit about setting with the lights up above and the way that kind of the ball comes in. That's both for setters and non-setters. But what I was referring to is just we talk a lot about going to a space and making it our own. And we talk a lot about getting familiar with where the locker room is, getting familiar with how we're going to walk in, getting familiar with what the court looks like, what it feels like, what the fans are like, and making that feel like ours. And we have to do it faster just because it's their home court. And in this case, it's not going to be their home court when we play that first match. We're playing Louisville. So the fact that we have the advantage there, that we played there last year in the same exact setting, is a huge thing for me. That we're already used to where that locker room is. We're already used to the walkout. We're already used to, I don't know, where our bench is going to be, what the fans are going to be like. And the one thing I don't know is just last year we were the underdog that everyone was cheering for, and the Nebraska fans got behind us. I don't know if they're going to be for us or Louisville, or if it's going to be split down the middle. But we're excited to go back, and we feel like we have a little bit of an advantage there.
We'll go second on the left to Alex.
Don't know how much you've gotten to look further into this year's Louisville team, but it looks like they've got a really strong block. Just what stands out, if maybe you've gotten to take on some tape yet?
Yeah, I've really kind of honed in on the other side of it, of what we're going to have to do block and defense to start, and how they're going to serve us, and some things along those lines. So I haven't watched the opposite side of it. So I'll probably get to that at some point tonight or tomorrow. It's interesting because them and Nebraska actually play a little bit alike in terms of the way they run their offenses and things along those lines. So it's one of those things where the practice for the week will kind of be themed around that, and then some stuff for Kansas as well. And I said this last week. I said it on the press conference afterwards in terms of how we're going to turn the page. It's going to be a little bit of a focus on all the teams at the beginning of the week. Today's going to be pretty light, actually, and just a little bit more of, hey, let's touch a volleyball and get you out of here and get some rest and get ready for finals. Which, again, like, we're in here talking about this, and like we have these student athletes, just what they do is pretty, I don't know, superhuman-like in terms of their ability to balance these two things when we're trying to get to a Final Four and they're trying to get through class at the same time and finish up the semester. But today will be about that, and then tomorrow will be a little bit of mix of all three teams and some things that we have to do for that.
And then a couple of your players after the match on Saturday said that, they learned from last year's Sweet 16 experience that they belonged there. Just what would it mean to get another round further, and even potentially 2 rounds further, if you guys can come out with a couple of
I mean, it mean everything, and I mean, I get to work another week, which I'm fired up for. So there's that piece of it, but and there's a long-term piece of that too, in terms of goals and visions and missions for what we said this program is about, and it was trying to get back to the history that it had, where it was consistently, I don't know, in the NCAA tournament, and then it's push it further. And right now, the further is we went to 2 Sweet 16s, which is something that hadn't been done. It's been to 2 Elite Eights. I'd love to get it back there, and it's never been to a Final Four. And I know we're capable of doing that with the group we have now, and I know we're capable of sustaining that for years and years to come.
We'll go third row on the right to Kay.
With so many returners and seniors on this team, a lot of them got a taste of what it was like last year in the Sweet 16. Does it kind of feel not like deja vu, but you're going back to the same location, you're playing in a Sweet 16 again? Is this group kind of fueled by the taste of coming so close last year?
Yeah, 100%. And I think last year, like, we felt like the underdog also, and this year we feel like we belong is the biggest difference. So I think as we're going into it, it's a little bit less about, I don't know, it's not deja vu in terms of, hey, we've been here, we've done this, and like we know what it's going to feel like. It's a little bit different of a feeling of we're going in there to prove that we're good enough. And we feel that way, and again, we're accepting any challenge that comes in our way, and the next one is Louisville. So it's a little bit similar in deja vu in terms of, all right, we're going back to Nebraska. It's going to be cold, and there's going to be some fans that are really amazing, and it's a cool atmosphere. And but the difference, I think, this time is we really do believe that we can come in and we're going to play a really good volleyball match, and not that we didn't last year, but that we're going to play a really good volleyball match against Louisville.
Fourth row on the left.
Was there something that you learned about your team during the tournament run that you may not have fully realized about them during your regular season?
This year or last year? This year?
This year, yes.
No, I think the thing, and whenever I get into a season, I just think about, hey, what could get in the way? And when I looked at this season, there were expectations that hadn't been there. So when I say last year with the underdog, it's really easy to go into a place and play when the expectations aren't there. It was, hey, is that going to get in the way? Or is it going to be, we're playing at home and we're supposed to win and get out of this, and are we going to play a little bit scared and nervous in that? And I think the thing I've been really, really excited about, and I noticed it, and I've been bringing this up at the SEC tournament, that when we played Texas, there was no fear, there was no, hesitation, there was no doubt. We're going to be ourselves in this moment, and not only that, we're going to enjoy this moment. And it's not a surprise. It was just one of those things where it's just been reinforced that we're doing that all over again. In these matches at home, it's not, oh my goodness, we might lose in front of our fans. It's we're going to use the 12th man and we're going to go win this volleyball match. And when we lost the first set, there was no fear, there was no doubt, there was no panic. It was we're going to figure out a way to win this match. When we were down in the fourth set, and there was no fear, there was no panic. It was, hey, we're going to chip away 1 point at a time. And as soon as we tied that up, there was just an extra, we're going to push this through. And it's not, again, surprise. It's just reinforced, and I'm fired up, and that's what tells me that we're in a good spot to push this forward.
We're going to go back behind the lights for two, starting with Tyler, then Donna.
Yeah. Jamie, what is it about this team that gives you confidence that they are, built to go further this year?
I think just that they're enjoying the moments. And you have, I don't know, teams and competitors that in those moments, they start to think about it too much. And I think this one's just being like, hey, and I told them in the locker room, just at some point they're going to get married. And I know this seems like a weird tangent in here, but just during that, you get stressed out about all these moving pieces that are going on in this thing and other people. And at 0 point, you actually take a step to take time to take a step back and say, man, this is amazing. All my friends and family are here, and enjoy that moment. And playing in these matches should be exactly like that. That at some point in there, it shouldn't be, hey, we have to go win this point. It's like, this is what I was born for, this is what I've trained for, and this is the thing that we're here for. And for me, I talk about why I came here, and I don't necessarily talk about why I came back to coaching. It's just that. And people always say, hey, you seem calm and you seem fiery in these matches. And it's just because I was out of it for 3 years, and this is the thing that we do it for. We work all season to get into this moment that we can get in here, and hopefully my heart rate gets up a little bit, because that's what we do it for. And most coaches should feel that way, because this thing is hard. It's not just hard to go through a season. The whole thing is hard. The recruiting, time spent away from family, all of it is, and it's worth it because it's what we were put on this planet to do. And I think I have a group of athletes that feel that way right now, that they were built to compete, that we train to go compete. And the way that we train, the way that we scout is to free their mind up to go do just that. So I have confidence because I'm seeing that out on the floor every single time we step out, in big moments and small moments and all of them. And I'm fired up about where we can go.
We'll go to Donna now, behind the lights.
Coach, obviously, I'm sure you'd like to, sweep every match and it not be, get your heart rate up. But when you watch the TCU match back, or even during it, does that sense of maybe facing a little bit of adversity during the match, but being able to will themselves through it and grind it out, does that give you extra confidence going into this next round?
Yeah, and again, this is all adversity. And the further you go in this NCAA tournament, the more you're inviting adversity into what you do. Because the better and better these teams get as it gets whittled down. We're down to 16, and then it'll be down to 8, and then it'll be down to 4, and then it'll be down to 2. And it's getting to be the point where the entire match, the entire day will be adversity. So it can't be something that you have to get used to. It has to be something that you thrive in, that you enjoy, that you're sitting in, that you get comfortable in accepting the fact that that's going to be life for the next 2 weeks. So it gives me confidence that, again, we've been sitting in those moments, and there's been no panic, no fear, no anything. It's we're going to go figure out a way to get through this, and we'll do that for as long as we possibly can in this tournament.
And then how have you seen, we've talked about the senior group so much, but how have you seen their preparation continue to improve? I mean, Logan said it after the game on Saturday that, yeah, they'll enjoy this one tonight, but, tomorrow we're going to turn the page and start looking at Louisville and start looking at film. Just how has their preparation continued to grow, especially as they become such a veteran group?
Yeah, it gets more and more dialed in, and I think the questions, I always like clarifying questions because it means we're paying attention and we care about this. So we've had more of those as we've gone on, just with, hey, in this instance, and it'll be like, hey, the next clip's going to show this right here. So, and it's been collaborative, I'd say the other thing. I think with that, there's been some questions going on in there, and in the match, we've gotten a couple suggestions from our athletes, and it's been going back and forth the way that it should be. So they're dialed in, they want to win, and again, they're ready for, the next adjustment that we have to make to go to play Louisville.
Go fourth row on the left-hand side.
So, Coach, we love it that you give us kind of an inside look. In football, there's a 2-minute drill that they practice. Do you do the same kind of deal for volleyball? Do you say, all right, it's 26-25, fourth set? Obviously, there's nothing like game experience, but do you try to simulate that in practice?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of other coaches that'll play games and it'll be 1st to 7. And I just start all of our games at 18-18 instead of that. So I want to simulate that pressure of, hey, we need to finish this thing so the scoreboard looks like what it's going to look like in our match. And we'll do some stuff where, like, we'll do mini games at times. I'll even do stuff where they don't know what the score is. Like, where we're going to play this game, you're going to go out there, but the scoreboard's hidden. You got to go play and with a sense of tension that every point might be your last. So we'll play around with some different ways to do that. And in football, obviously, the way they play changes at the end of the game with the time and the way we need to manage the clock. In our sport, it's just the way you need to handle your breath and go back to the service line and try to treat it the same as the others. So we'll try to add that pressure in practice. And the biggest one when I got here was, again, going back to culture, is like we have to want to compete. Because if you don't want to compete, then at 25-25 in practice, you're not going to care. But if you can create a competitive environment in there where, hey, this matters, we're doing this for something, like I want to win, and you get the right athletes to do it, then all of a sudden you're getting simulated pressure 5 days a week as opposed to just 2. So some of that was culturally at the beginning, and then some of it's the way we run practice.
We'll go third row on the left.
I love our questions today. Keep going.
I know you said that, you guys are set up well, both in the future and in the present, but with the amount of seniors you have, is there like a heightened sense of urgency to capitalize on this opportunity this year?
Yeah, no, for them, yes. There's a finality to every match could be your last. And I think they've had that conversation of like, hey, like we've been in this together, we built this, and let's go finish this the way we want to. For me, there's a sense of urgency for them. Let me say that. And I would say this every year. I think if you watch me at the end of the match last year, I was in tears, and it wasn't because, I don't know, I was upset with our team. It wasn't because I was sad that we lost. It was for a few of those players, their last chance to go do that. And I felt like that group, and again, every team is different. I always say this, it's made of a bunch of eyes. Like that team, it was slightly different, but for them, that was the last chance, and we gave everything that we could down the stretch in that season and that match to the last point. And for me, the emotion was just like, that's this group's last chance to do this. It's not my last chance. It's their last chance. And for this year, it's a bigger group, obviously. So I'll be sad, and there's a sense of urgency to do it for them. And then you said, but there's also the long term of this, of like we're hopefully going to get back there, and I'm not going to say hopefully, we're going to get back there again at some point. But for me, the sense of urgency is like I want to do this for them. This is their experience. Like, and I think if we try to like steal that in any way, shape, or form, like this isn't about me. It's hopefully about, again, getting our student athletes this experience of going through this amazing university, getting a degree from here, getting to push of who they are as a human being, so that they can go do these things on the court. And it's about the student body's experience for me, that they get to kind of have this amazing experience, so that they come back and be a part of it later. And it really should be about those things.
And we'll wrap up with Alex, second row on the left.
Going to Nebraska, obviously a place with such strong volleyball pedigree. I realize you're going there to win a game, but I'm curious from a big picture standpoint, from maybe your previous trip there or watching from afar, are there any things that you've pulled from what they do in their program that you've implemented here, whether from your team standpoint or even from maybe an atmosphere standpoint, that place that has a lot of success?
I'll say that from a volleyball standpoint, like we're fairly similar. It's actually interesting because I think I've trained 90% of their team with U19s, and like I joke around with our coaches about this sometimes. From a program standpoint, I came here because I thought I could build what has happened in Nebraska. That volleyball matters, that it matters a lot, that people show up every single day, that they're passionate about that volleyball program, about supporting it in every single way, including the way that they show up in matches, and they're loud. And that's growing here, and it's becoming that here. And I did it here because I didn't want to be in negative 10-degree weather all year. I wanted to be someplace that it's warm.